Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm so stoked to have you guys back. Today I'm going to be sharing my top tips for a beginner surfer. By the end of this video, you guys will feel confident to get in the water and give it a crack. First of all, you're going to want to find yourself an 8 to 9 foot soft board. This is the one that I use to teach my customers how to surf, and they have a really great time on it. It's the easiest to learn on, and it's also the safest since it is very soft, so if you're to get hit by it, you're very unlikely to get injured. The biggest mistake beginners make is getting something that's too small. You're definitely going to want to find something that is at least 8 foot, anywhere even up to 10 foot if you can find something that's 10 foot. You can find a really good softboard either at your local surf shop, marketplace, Gumtree, or you can even call up your local surf school and see if they're selling any boards. The main thing is to make sure there's no crease on the board. A crease is when there's a big line going across the board and it's indented into the board. That crease will make it really weak and you'll most likely snap it within the first few waves, so keep an eye out for that. Next, you're going to need a leg rope. You need to make sure the leg rope is the same length as the board. I have an 8 foot soft board, so I'm going to need an 8 foot leg rope. The leg rope attaches to the tail of the surfboard, and this part here attaches to your ankle. When you're buying a surfboard, the board should ideally have 3 fins. If you're buying it secondhand, it's likely that the fins are already in the board, like this one here. If you're buying it brand new from a surf shop, you may have to put the fins in yourself. It's always worth asking the person at the shop to help you put the fins in for the first time, as it can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes people put it in with the pointy bit facing towards the front of the board, which is backwards, so you want to make sure that the pointy bit is facing towards the back of the board. Now, you don't necessarily need 3 fins. You can have anywhere between 1 to 4 fins in a surfboard. This one here only has 2 fins, as you can see. This was not done on purpose. I accidentally snapped this middle fin out. But if you are buying a board and it only has 2 fins, you want to make sure that the fins are on the outside of the board, not one in the middle, one on the outside. Now, if you're buying a board that only has 1 fin in it, it should look something like this one here. As you can see, it's quite a large fin, and it's right in the center of the tail of the board. Or as you can see, this board right here has 4 fins. This is called a quad setup. So it's got the 2 smaller fins up the back and the 2 bigger fins on the side here, just a bit more forward on the board. So the next thing you're going to have to get is wax. Excuse my wax, it's very sandy. That is the reality of being a surfer, so you don't always look after your wax. I order my wax from the Cake Club, so you can check them out. It's a subscription base, and yeah, they're really great. I just get a delivery, I think it's like once a month or once every 2 months. I get a box of wax and it's awesome. Depending on the water temperature, you'll need different wax. The warmer the water temperature, the harder the wax needs to be, and the cooler the water temperature, the softer and the stickier the wax needs to be. Now, you don't actually have to wax a foam surfboard. Not everyone does. I personally wax my foam surfboards because I do still find them quite slippery, so it's completely up to you. The downside about waxing a foam surfboard is that the wax gets really dirty really quickly, and it's quite difficult to remove from a foam surfboard. Picking a safe beach to surf at. There's a few things you can do to find a good beach to learn at. First, Google beaches nearby that have a local surf school, as this is often a really good indicator that it's a good learning beach. You can also ask the local surf shop where they recommend, or ask another experienced surfer. The other thing you can do is check the surf forecast yourself. It's not as hard as it sounds, as there's a few really good surf forecast websites that make it really easy to understand the report. My top 3 are SURFLINE, Magic Seaweed and WILLY weather. You want to find somewhere that says it's anywhere between 1/2 foot to 3 foot. Always check the surf before heading out. You want to find waves that look something like this. The waves are nice and small, they're not too steep, and they're not dumping into the sandbank. These are perfect conditions for learning how to surf. Look for waves knee-high in water waist deep. More specifically, you're looking for a sandbank like this one, where you can stand and start catching whitewash. When you're catching your first wave, you want to be in the whitewash area, which is closer to the beach than the impact zone. The impact zone is the dumpiest part of the wave. It's where the wave initially starts curling over to break and form whitewash. Try and find a surf buddy. It's always safest to surf with someone. It's unlikely of something happening to you, but you are in the ocean, which is an unpredictable and sometimes dangerous environment. Always have great respect for the ocean. If you can't find a surf buddy, make sure you find somewhere where there's lots of other people surfing. Paddling and popping up. When paddling, you want to be in the center of your board with your toes able to touch the end of your board. If you're too far forward, the nose will dig into the water, causing you to nosedive. And if you're too far back, the nose of the board will stick out a lot, causing you to use a lot of energy when you're paddling. You will really struggle to catch waves. The sweet spot feels like you can gain momentum when paddling. You will feel nice and stable. Popping up. Push up with your hands placed under your chest and bring your back foot forward and then your front foot forward. Keep your hands on the board until both feet are planted on the board. Slowly take your hands off the board and keep your chest over your knees. To stay stable, you want to stay nice and low so that you can ride the wave for longer. Hold the surfboard on the side of your body, turn it around, lay down in the correct position and start paddling. Once you feel the wave has caught up to you and you have got some speed, you can then stop paddling and enjoy the first ride on your belly. On your next wave, try standing up just like we practiced on the beach. Before I go surfing, I just wanted to mention a few last things. Number 1, you need to know how to swim before you learn how to surf. Number 2, don't make eye contact with someone when you're on a wave, as you will head in their direction and this will cause a collision. Number 3, always be mindful of how shallow the sandbank is. Anytime you fall off a wave, protect your head like this. This will protect your head from the fins, the board, and the sandbank. Never hold the surfboard in front of your body because if a wave is to hit it, you will end up on your back. Always hold it to the side of your body. If you need to ditch your surfboard, which means letting your surfboard go so you can swim under the wave, make sure you let the people know behind you what you're about to do. Don't grab your rails of your surfboard when you're trying to pop up. This will make the board wobbly. Whoops. This will make the board wobble like this. So you always have to have your hands on the deck of the board under your chest when you're popping up. And my final tip, always look where you want to go. Where you look is where you want to go. So if I'm looking over my shoulder to my right, I'm going to go towards the right of the wave. If I'm looking left, I'll go left. When you're first starting off though, you just want to look straight ahead towards the beach and avoid making eye contact with anyone in front of you. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss next week's video.